All right, boys. Hope everyone had a good week. Talk to me about some dad wins and fails that we've had.
Do you want me to lead this
Go
off?
ahead, Andrew.
I've got a great one. So a few weeks ago, we talked about, I mentioned that my son was doing a flag football league.
Yeah.
And there was no adult supervision. These kids are practicing by themselves. Well, still on game day, you need to have a coach, like an adult coach there, right? So there's a guy who said, hey, I'll do it, whatever. This past weekend or a weekend or two ago, nobody, he said he couldn't make it. So I show up with my son thinking, okay, I'm going to drop him off, open up my phone, do whatever I do for an hour. And one of the moms comes up and says, we don't have a coach. Can you be the coach? And now I know sports, I know whatever. I can do it, right? And I actually enjoy coaching. So they hand me the playbook. And again, I want to remind you guys, this is a group of like 8, 9, and 10-year-old boys. They're running their own flag football league. I take the book, and I kid you not, I open it up, and the playbook is in crayon. Like legitimate crayon.
Did they get the Cleveland Browns playbook?
And there's one they call, I think it's called like the poop play or something, where the wide receiver runs up like 5 yards, does like 8 circles, and then runs to the end zone. It was an absolute disaster. So anyway,
That's hilarious.
we scored some points, but it was an absolute disaster. Kids should not be running their own football team.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as bad news bears that works. Anyway,
Yeah.
So does
was
that go
my-
against your record? Are you 0-1 coach?
I'm an 0-1 coach
0-1
now.
coach,
Within
wow.
this flag football league. I'm kind of sad.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue to my fail. We're potty training, and so you mentioned poop, the poop play, and I had a couple times where you think the kid's clean, she seems to be good, and you're like, I just smell something off. Well, it wasn't in the area it should be. It was down in the pant leg, pretty low. So it's not until you do a little.
Was it a
research.
solid nugget, or was it more of
Yeah, a
a...
little soft nugget. So
That's okay. That's okay.
It,
Yeah, we
it
can work
wasn't
with
bad,
that. We
but
can work with that.
there was another time where I
wasn't so nuggety.
There were those two. Another time I took my daughter out, just the two of us. I took her to the store real quick, and I'm like, I don't feel great about this. She was telling me like she had to go, but she wouldn't go, and you can't force a kid to go. So I'm just like, all right, maybe she's just saying that. And so she proceeded to pee as soon as we, like 5 minutes into the car ride. So I'm like, all right, let's go home. We're just going to get cleaned up and just ditch this store trip. So then I get back and I'm like, she did, but I'm like, it's not too bad. So I take her, I clean her up, take her. She does great at the store. And then coming home, she's like, I got to go potty. I'm like, hold it, kid, hold it. So we pull into a gas station on the way home, and she's going, yay, we did it. And I was thinking, oh no. So like I pick her up, and she proceeds then to just pee all over me, like as I'm holding her in the arms. So I'm like, yeah, cool. So yeah, that was fun. Getting peed on a few times this week, and
Sorry, your weekend
Body
sucked.
training.
As you can probably tell, my voice is maybe a little bit huskier than usual. I've had a pretty big weekend. So shout out to my wife, actually. I was in New York for a couple of days, catching up with some friends, and then I went to the Columbus Crew into Miami game. So I've had
I
Nice.
heard that was an awesome game.
Yeah, it was a fun, just a fun weekend. But like I said, shout out to my wife, because she was solo parenting for about 2.5 days, which is a nice segue into today's topic, actually, around solo parenting, and more specifically solo dad mode. So let's kick it off with a question. So what is your mindset before going solo with the kids? Who wants to kick it off?
I'll go. Yeah. It's funny because I like go into like stages mode of the day, like right, like all right, I know what needs to happen.
Grief,
here.
denial.
Well, actually, initial shock wears off that I'm gonna have the kids for however long.
Does it ever leave grief? I feel like you get stuck in grief.
Yeah, after
Kids are crying for mom. You're crying for mom.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic. So I start segmenting up the day. Right, I'm like, all right, we got to get ready for the day. Then we're gonna have a short time here where they can play. I know at like 11:30ish, I got to start prepping for lunch. I got to get these kids fed. Then I know there's a nap. So like,
you're counting down
dude,
units of time.
I start scheduling it out, and then it
yeah.
becomes just like managed to the next stage. Right, it goes from like, I feel like when my wife's around, it's like more playful and fun and parenting. Where now it's just like I'm a manager. It's like I just got to get these kids.
It is a
I got to
manager.
keep these kids alive till their moms get home. Till their mom gets home. So how about you guys?
My mindset is, if I can paint like a picture a little bit, it's You know, in like Rocky, where like he's training for like the big fight, and there's like the big lead.
There's
up
like
to that.
montage.
There's like a montage. Like no, well, the montage is in my head, prepping myself
doing
for
push-ups,
all of
training.
my best bits as a parent to remind myself that I can do this. Or like in Rambo, where he has like the war paint and he's like putting the war paint below like his eyes. Like I feel like I'm going into battle every
great.
single time, and I feel like by the end of it, I am like broken and beaten, but like so much better for the next
You made
time.
not without some wounds. But you made
It's like
it,
war wounds. It's like I feel like a war veteran after I'm done. But what's your mindset going into it?
Man, it's changed. I've got older kids now, so it's changed a lot. But I would say I shared the same mindset. It was just like, all right, I got to schedule enough things to where I can look forward to the next thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like to me, like where I can be like, okay, if I get to 11, it's snack time. If I get to 12, it's whatever. Lunchtime, then it's nap time or whatever the thing is. I'd say now I try to like make it fun because like I get the opportunity to be like, mom's rules don't apply anymore. Now I get to make the rules. It's dad time, right? So it's a lot more like I think laid back now where, I don't, if they want to watch TV till late in the day, let's watch TV till late in the day, if, whatever it might be. So I let a lot of the rules go out now as an older dad, but like as a dad, when I had a lot of younger kids, it was like same thing, like regiment, let's grind through this thing.
Yeah.
Well, what's the longest stretch that you've had, like solo stretch?
Just recently, my wife was gone for like 4 or 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Just recently.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's really long. Like,
Yeah.
And we still have a 2-year-old, so it's not young kids. So we still have 2. She's gone for like 4 or 5 days, but it was like, again, I have older kids, so I have a 17-year-old now and a 15 and 4. It was actually pretty easy. It was like, I mean, besides the kids, they always start to miss mom. But yeah, she was gone for about, I think 4 days.
Yeah.
And she's leaving again for like 5 or 6 days in July.
So
like,
who do you guys
come on.
you guys call in the reinforcements? I mean, you ask your older kids, do you like more?
100%. And like we have somebody who comes over a couple times a week that just helps in general, that helps kind of like babysit and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is we have like she'll help with the laundry during those periods of time.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit easier on me trying to like manage all the chaos.
Dude, speaking
and all
of
the
which,
laundry.
with 11 kids, man, like how many sets of washer and dryers do you have in
we have 2 and 2, but
Okay.
these things run. I'm not kidding you. We've got like the industrial grade, whatever. We have burned through 2 of them.
Do you have a mechanic showing up to do maintenance like
Well,
every month?
it's not even worth it at this point. Like the guy comes out and I buy the machine for like whatever, $1,000, and he's like, "Yeah, it's $750 to fix this thing because you've worn out all these parts." And so anyway, like I don't know. I literally have bought 3 of these things in the last 4 years. I bought 3, like 1 new washer and 2 new dryers in the last, because they're constantly going till like 11:45 at night. They're going.
Dude,
it's crazy.
I could imagine.
What's the worst thing that's gone wrong though while you guys have been solo parenting?
I think one of my kids broke an arm. Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
No. I mean, well, it's not that bad in the sense of like their kids being kids.
Yeah, okay.
And like
Yeah,
whatever. It wasn't an
Yeah.
arm. It was like I think he had broken his finger or something like that. But it wasn't traumatic.
Okay.
It was like
For you maybe.
No, but even for him, it was like okay, it's whatever.
Yeah,
you go get
yeah,
cast.
yeah.
It wasn't like bone showing through. It's just
So-
like my arm hurts, whatever.
Was that the walk it off moment? You're just like, you're
Yeah,
probably
we-
fine,
yeah,
kid.
100%.
Just
You're
walk it
fine,
off.
you're fine, you're fine. It
And
gets
then
worse
3
and
days
worse.
later, it's like giant. You're like, maybe we should get
Maybe
that
we should
looked
get
at.
that looked at.
Yeah.
So then they're calling my wife. What should I do in this case?
Hypothetically speaking, if the bone is sticking out. The worst thing that's happened to me actually didn't happen to my kids. It happened to me. And this is fairly recent, like within the last month or so. So my wife was out with some friends, and I was solo parenting both the girls, and it was going so well. Like, when like everything is like clockwork. Like we had screen time, but not too much screen time. We had snacks, not too many snacks. We had a pretty good like dinner, and it was like 7:15, and my eldest said, "I'm really tired. Can I go to bed?" And at that point, you're like, win.
Yeah.
And that usually is like an hour-long like battle to get into bed. So
Meanwhile, he's feeding him Dramamine.
Just a little bit.
Applesauce and Dramamine.
we'll get to that on Dad Hags. We'll get to
sleepy
Dad
kid?
Hags. Yeah. So I put my eldest to bed, and then my youngest is up next. So I put her to bed. Her bedtime's super easy. Like it's a couple of minutes long. So I put both down, and like I get to the top of the stairs, and I look at the time on my phone, and I'm like, it's 7:15, and I literally was like, I have the whole evening
You got all
ahead of me. And I had like work I wanted to catch up with, I had TV shows I wanted to catch up with. I wanted to work out. I was like, you know, when you are but when you're so excitable, you don't even know where to begin. You're like, maybe I'll work out and work at the same time and watch it. Like you have no idea. Guys, I get to the top of the stairs. I just lost my balance. And I had my phone in my hand, and it was like something out of a cartoon where the banana skin peel moment where you flip backwards, and I cracked myself in the eye with my phone. And I was like dazed for a second. I stand up, and I can't see out my right eye. And there was this big black spot, and I wear contact lenses, but the fall was like pretty like loud. So I can hear my youngest like awake.
Did you fall all the way down the stairs, or?
So the stairs have a turn in them. So it goes down, a turn, and
Saved by the landing.
Saved by the landing. Yeah, it was like, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't see what's going on. And then my youngest is now awake and like yelling for me. So I go back into a room. I'm trying to rock her asleep, but I'm like, is that my eyeball that's hanging out or my contact lens that's hanging out? I haven't looked in the mirror at this point. So I finally get her back down, look in like the mirror. My eye is bright red. It's already swelling up. And the contact lens is like half hanging out. So I like dig it out and I put my glasses on. I'm like, I can't see a thing. And I then frantically call my wife. But like, I don't know if you've ever called your wife and said, hey, I've fallen down the stairs. So I'm like, I put on a voice. I'm like, not to be dramatic, but I've fallen down the stairs. I need you back home.
I was going to say, no, I'm a man, Naveed. I have not made that call.
So you were calling the reinforcements.
I called reinforcements. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, I ended up in ER and like had to get like stuff checked out. And then it was kind of blurry for a couple of days. And a genuine like black eye. But the most embarrassing moment, or two most embarrassing moments, other than falling down the stairs, obviously, is the fact that we had found out that we were having twins the day before. Yeah. So then the running joke in the family was like, come on.
Trying to off yourself.
Oh no.
You fell down the stairs, really?
Yeah. Well, the worst one was I got to the hospital and they were like, is everything safe at home? Come on, man. This is embarrassing enough. Like, let me go. Let me
Did your wife take a shot at you?
Not that time. Kidding.
That's great.
What about you?
So the longest I've been without my wife with the kids was like 3 days. So we had 3 kids. She was pregnant with our 4th, and nothing like really bad happened, thankfully.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it's like I got to switch modes from just like managing constantly to be like, yeah, we got to do something fun here.
Sure.
You know, and I think it was in the fall time, because at one point I brought them outside and I was just blowing them with the leaf blower in the front yard, and they were
drinking a beer.
It like
no shirt on. Great picture, Matt.
Nailed it. And so I think Anna had called me right then, my wife, and so like I FaceTime with her, and and the kids are having a blast. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just blowing the kids with the leaf blower," and they're just like running into the wind, and they thought it was hilarious. So like I was able to present like everything's fine, everything's great over here.
Yeah.
Whereas if you could call me like 20 minutes earlier, I'm sure I was like, I gotta get these kids outside, do something.
Have you guys ever had like that breaking point moment where like you just feel like you're gonna snap?
Yeah.
What is it?
Like a go postal moment. Yeah, I mean, I have them, right? But I'll typically like.
What's like your dad hack to kind of center you?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's more of a dad hack, because like when I get into those moments where it feels like the entire world is collapsing around you, it's like me and my wife always say this, like you almost have to out crazy the crazy. Like you can't like.
You gotta be crazier than them.
Yes, you have to be crazier than them. And so like typically what that involves for me is like I'll just start blaring music. So it'll be like, all right, Metallica goes on and we just go nuts, right? And so like if I was like a WWE character, like my entrance song would be Sandman. And nice. So like when that song goes on, all my kids know like
all the kids know Dad's lost it.
Dad is locked in.
He's got that crazy look in his eyes.
He's got that crazy look. So like I'll turn that on and all the kids know like, okay, we're not winning against Dad. He's gone to another level. So I'd say the biggest dad hack is typically we'll have like, you know, like crank music, dance party, kind of just get everybody out of there, like shake everybody up as a big dad hack.
I do the dance party thing too, man. That does actually seem to like, well, one, the kids burn off tons of energy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's just fun and funny, and you can play whatever music that you want, right? To your point. Exactly. And like, they're just kind of like going for it. But I feel like when I get super stressed out, I usually take it out on the older kids. Like
it always happens.
like
that
my
way.
poor older kid. It's always like, hey, I need help. I need some
Yeah.
help around
Come
here.
on, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I was like, I need some help. You're having fun. That's great, but I need help. And so I'll like recruit them to do something. Like, you need to watch your older sister. Like, because it's always the little ones that are causing problems
Yeah.
when you're trying to like do the dishes or like get food ready or whatever. Yeah. So I feel like I always like calling the older ones to step up.
What about like a perspective shift? Does it make you kind of appreciate like what your partner does day to day?
Oh yeah, and I think part of it is you know that they're coming back at some point. So
Mm-hmm.
like you're just like, I have to get through this time, and then all will be right in the world again. But you think about solo or like single parents, man. I mean, they shout out to any single parents out there because
Yeah.
it is a challenge.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it has to be a totally different
Single parents or even stay at home
mindset.
mums. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Like I finished the day so mentally exhausted from like watching the kids, and whether people admit that or not, like you finish the day and you're like, I feel like I've just been in like 12 rounds with like Mike Tyson emotionally.
Yeah.
And especially having girls. Boys is different. Boys is like a physical energy. Like my nephews have like such physical energy.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
With girls, it's like emotional energy. It's like
Yeah.
500 questions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just in like the first hour of waking up.
Yeah.
And they're good questions.
Yeah.
And they're questions that like make you think.
Yeah.
And they're like really like, and now the questions have started to be about God. And I'm like, I'm all tapped out when it comes to explaining the universe at this point.
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
Well, then your wife comes home and she's like, yeah, you're like vent to your wife and they're like,
Yeah.
this is what I do every day.
I know.
There's like,
I know. Have you ever been caught in like that moment where you have had a great solo parenting day and the meltdown has happened just before like your wife walks in?
I do a better thing. Like I'll like brag to my wife how great it is while she's gone, just to like show her what she's missing. Like that's my hack. So like we went to the
No longer if she's listening to
Oh
this.
no. She knows it. I'm very open about it.
Yeah.
She was gone for, it was like a 2-night thing she was gone for, and we had the circus in town. And like we never go to those things.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm taking all the kids to the circus. Just me going to the circus. So we end up like going to the circus, take all these pictures,
Yeah.
FaceTime. We're like, oh no, we're just hanging out at the circus. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this?
Is that one of our kids on the
I was
truck?
going to say kids on the line page.
But when Dad goes to the circus, it's like anybody. Like when Mom goes, like, okay, maybe we
Yeah.
split a bag
Yeah.
of cotton candy. For me, it's just like, whatever. Everybody gets their own bag of popcorn. There is
That's
no
great.
rules.
That's awesome.
Do you guys prep ahead of time? Or you just wing it? Was that like so that tip of getting out the house and doing something crazy? Do you plan that or did you?
No,
wing
that was just spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Like, we knew it was coming in. I knew it was happening. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll do this. Maybe I won't. And I didn't plan it. I didn't say anything about it. I just kind of
Yeah.
felt, hey, in the moment, it's the right thing to do. Because I don't want to feel committed. As you guys know, I'm pretty anti-committal about everything.
You are, yeah. Despite having 11 kids, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I don't want to plan anything or commit to anything for those type of events. So like, last minute, get the tickets and go. So
Yeah. Yeah, I usually try to do some outing, depending on the weather and time of year and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's
What about meals, naps, routines? Like, do you keep all of that stuff, or how do you typically handle?
I would say I keep like pretty close to it. Like,
Okay.
I'm pretty close to everything. Every once in a while, I'll just kind of blow it off, but it makes your whole life worse, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. It like makes your life worse
Exactly.
if you're like,
You skip all
hey,
that.
we're gonna skip nap time and just play. It
Yeah.
genuinely makes your life.
Well, I've got some
makes life
statistics here
worse.
if we want to
Yeah,
get
let's
into
hear
a
it,
couple
man.
of these. So, 68% of dads solo parenting for the weekend admit to ordering takeout.
100%.
I mean, 68 even seems low.
That
right?
seems
Which
low.
is-
Yeah.
47% of dads report to letting kids choose their own outfits.
Yeah. That's normal in our
good.
house pretty
Okay.
much.
42% of solo dads report skipping bath time. I definitely do that. I mean,
I won't skip bath time.
Oh,
Choose up the clock. It's like when the
It
guy's
does
at
true.
top of the key and just dribbles the ball at the 3-point line. That's bath time.
Yeah,
it's,
that's
an
it.
easy
It's
win.
chewing up the clock.
bath time. Yeah, it's garbage time. It's garbage
It's
time.
garbage time. Yeah.
72% of dads admit to completely losing track of screen time.
I'll say we don't do a lot of TV,
My kids
but I will.
hate the TV.
My-
They can't do screen time. It's so frustrating.
My younger kids don't, but
Yeah.
my middle-aged kids do.
Yeah.
And I'm usually yelling at them, turn off TV, go do
Yeah.
something with your life type stuff.
I need you guys to be honest on this one. 25% of dads have accidentally fallen asleep before the kids while trying to put them to bed.
100%.
Solo parenting.
100%. Not even solo parenting. Any parenting.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there could be times in the middle of the day where you're just laying on the floor. You're doing floor parenting.
Oh, yeah,
and
floor
you just
parenting.
zonk out for a few, and then you're like, oh, all right.
Wait a minute. Only 25% of dads admit to that?
25% of dads admit to that.
I would have thought it's like the opposite. I thought it was
25%
like 75% of dads.
Well, that's why you're
Yeah.
solo parenting. I'm saying
Yeah.
I'd probably say 100%.
Okay. So this is admission of falling
Admission,
asleep.
yeah. You
It's-
don't want to admit that
Dude,
one.
it is
That's
way
not
higher
one you
than
want to admit.
25%.
Oh yeah, but when you're both parenting at the same time, that probably is 100%.
Yeah, well, then, no, I'm saying even when you're solo parenting, if you're not trying to catch a Z every now and then when you're solo
Well,
parenting.
you're on the 25%. Matt and I are not admitting anything on camera.
I do. That's why I try to stick to the schedule too, though,
Yeah.
because that nap time is
You
the
have your
only
nap
downtime.
time.
Yeah, it's the only downtime where I know, okay, the kids will be up in the room for like 1.5 to 2
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can.
This one's interesting. The emergency text to your wife. How many times do you think the average dad texts during a solo day of parenting to their wife to ask, let's call it a dumb question?
3 times.
I would say 4.
Wow, 3 to 5 times.
Come on.
Yeah, baby.
Nailed it.
Dumb things like, did this kid always have this rash? How's the car seat work? How's it plug in? Although, just
Where's
just-
this?
Yeah, where's this is
Where's this
so
is
Are they still
standard.
doing this? 'Cause, like, that's the one, because their schedule's always changing. I'm
That's
like,
good.
are they still doing snack time like 10?
That's so true.
The best one is when your kids get a little bit older and they know that like you're not the primary parent, and they'll be like, "Oh, mom always lets us do
Oh,
that."
dude.
Or no, mom said I can have 3 fruit snacks today. No, mom said
Yeah.
and everything is mom said, and that's where like my 3 to 5 text is probably 13 to 15.
Yeah.
because it's now I'm asking like, do we do this?
Yeah.
Do we allow this? She said she's allowed to smoke. I'm not sure.
You said it's okay.
I cut her off at 2 bourbons, but she says she's allowed.
That's why she was so sleepy that
Yeah,
day.
there you go.
That's why I fell down the stairs. What about your survival kit? If you had a dad solo survival kit, what would you place in it?
Man, that's a good question. It wouldn't be things; it'd probably be people. Like I said, my parents are like 40 minutes away from us.
Okay.
So if I know that I'm gonna have the kids too for extended days, I always call my mom. I said,
Yeah.
"Hey, can you come or help?" And
Yeah.
they actually come once a week anyway to help us when my wife's working. But yeah, that's when I'll definitely lean on the reinforcements and like see if there's anybody else that could like come and just even for a few hours. It's like super helpful.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Mine's just snacks. It's sugary snacks because I can't do it. Like
They're
it's just-
magical, aren't they, for kids? I
They're
mean, they'll do
amazing.
anything for a treat, man. They'll change in
They
1 second.
change
1 second.
which is kind of infuriating because deep down it means they can behave.
Well, sure.
Right.
They just choose not to.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, we all do the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
Not us.
Yeah. If someone put $1 million on the table and was like, hey, do this thing, you'd be like, all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
It's all the same.
I guess so. Let's move to listener corner. So, what's the weirdest lie or dumbest bribe that you told or gave your kid out of total desperation?
Oh, man. I don't have one yet. I got to think.
Mine
of
are,
this one.
they're not too crazy. And honestly, we just talked about them, but like treats, like
Yeah.
anything sweet, I'll use that as a bargaining chip, or TV, which again, we don't like watch a lot of TV. So when they do get to watch it, they're
Yeah.
like amped to watch anything. So it's like, if I'm just losing it and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to turn this on for an hour or whatever, and just
Yeah.
let the kids watch this, whoever. And then it's like, you can just get that
Yeah.
moment of decompression to regroup, you know?
This might get us a little bit off topic, but how do you, and this is, I'm asking this for a reason because this is where my mind is going. How do you guys poop with multiple kids while you're solo parenting? Because I'm like a 15, 20-minute pooper.
Well, you got to be quick.
Yeah, you don't got that kind of,
What if-
you don't got the luxury.
You don't
man.
get that time. This is Green Beret Special Ops. You better make sure it's quick. You better make if you're white. It's a one wipe Charlie. You
ever
gotta get in and out, man.
I think in your survival kit, you should have a little Metamucil. 'Cause that's gonna keep.
Maybe
keep
some
things
dude
moving.
Well,
wanting
here's the
something.
thing: if you don't take your phone in with you and you don't take any reading material, it automatically is going to accelerate that because you're going to
Yeah,
get
then it's a
bored.
30-second
down.
poop.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You're in and
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And the worst is like when you have young kids, it's an open door policy, right? Because
It is an open door
they
policy.
come
Yeah,
rolling
yeah.
in, and at a certain age, you have to be like, all right, guys,
Yeah,
give me
yeah,
some
yeah,
privacy.
yeah,
But
yeah.
pretty much, it's like an open door policy. Everybody rolls
Yep.
in,
Well,
and you just got to be quick.
Or fingers crossed, you're just like, look, I'm gonna be gone for a little bit, and
Yeah.
let's
Nice.
just hope everything's gonna go
So
well.
the reason I asked that is, and this maybe happened, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was pooping and I kind of lost track of time, and I could just see like, and I always like leave the door open like a crack so I can kind of see what the kids are doing. And both girls were on top of the table, and my youngest, who's like, sub 2 years old, was kind of leaning over the edge. So I was like trying to figure out how to get my eldest to help her get down, and I'm like mid poop, and it was like hostage negotiation. Like,
the poop counts up to like 8 on this podcast.
Seriously.
I literally was like, please help your sister down. And it was like, I basically offered her anything. And so I went through everything, right? I went through fruit snacks, brownies, cookies. Nothing was working. And the final one was like, you can have anything you want. Mm-hmm. And she was like, anything? It's like anything. And then she finally picked like marshmallows, and it worked. But that's the worst one. Like
she just logged that one. She just found out when Dad's most vulnerable.
Ooh, there's another level to this.
She's been asking for marshmallows a lot recently, so that's because of that. What about you?
Wait, what was the question again? Because we went off on a completely different tangent.
What was the tangent?
Total desperation. That was
total desperation. Oh, what do we do? What do you do with your kids?
Weirdest lie or dumbest bribe?
Dumbest bribe. Like I'm a big like. All right, you're not going to watch TV if you don't do this. Like there's a lot of that sort of stuff going on. I'll say TVs and snacks, and then there's always the ice cream outing. Like, hey, if we can do this thing, guys, we'll go to the local Mitchell's that all my kids love. Hey, we'll go to Mitchell's or whatever, and that's kind of the biggest thing. Other than that, it's not too crazy.
Yeah,
that's about it. Yeah.
It's nothing too crazy.
No, ice cream, TV, snacks, the way to pretty much anybody's heart.
Yeah. That's fair.
It's the simple things.
Yeah, simple things.
Yeah. All right, let's move towards closeouts. What about dad interest for the week? Who wants to kick this off?
I got one. All right. So I've turned more and more into a watch guy recently for no other reason than I like watches, right? And so I have some really nice watches, but they're not like everyday wear watches. So I've been like looking to be like, how can I get an everyday wear watch that isn't like pretentious or isn't whatever? And so I was looking through I'll just, on the side, and I found this watch that I'm wearing right now. And it's funny because it's like, I don't want to call it crappy because that's not like an appropriate term to call a watch, but it's like an everyday $70 watch you can buy on Amazon and get delivered the next day, Casio. But I freaking love this watch, man. It is like, you'll have a Rolex, you have a Breitling, you have like your nice watches, right? But this thing, in terms of wearing it every day, I just like really enjoy it. So like, I don't know what it is. I've really enjoyed the idea of trying to find a watch that like looks good, that you can wear every single day without being like, oh, I got to wear a $40,000 watch every single day. So,
was your dad a watch guy?
My dad's a big watch guy, watch guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't like watches until like a few years ago. And I'm not like the mechanic guy of a watch. Like my dad's the mechanic. He like loves, he understands the mechanics of a watch. I'm more of like the look, the style, that sort of thing of a watch. And I you have an Apple Watch on. Right. I had an Apple Watch on for a while, and I just got like Apple Watch fatigue, I guess. Yeah. And so I went back to like normal watches because I do like knowing the time and date on my wrist. So
Apple Watches, you get so addicted to like the statistics on that, the step count,
the metrics.
That's
the metrics
are
like out of whack.
But I feel like the same way. I'm like, I hate it in some ways, but I
actually ditched. So the reason I ditched my Apple Watch, quick segue, is because when we did our trip to Arizona, I forgot my charger. Remember how I was like a crack addict in that conference. I was walking around going, "Anyone have a charger? Anyone have a charger?" No one had one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I was like, "All right, well, it's gonna die after a day," and then never used it since then. So
interesting. That's my biggest issue with any sort of like smartwatch, because I've tried the Fitbits and all that. I hate the charging of them. Like I hate charging my phone. Like the last thing I need to do is try to take care of a watch on top of it all. So anyway.
Nice. What about you? What's your dad?
I would just say it was the Masters last weekend, which it just took up way too much of my time. That's like the only time of the year that I literally will have the TV on like for 2 days straight. But it was great, and it just gets you fired up to golf, in the springtime.
Do you think they plan that?
What?
That like, it's the entrant for like all golf for the year, basically. For anybody that is not living in a warm state, like Augusta is like the defining line of like.
I think so. It's like the start of spring, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like everybody's golf, so it's like everybody gets amped for the Masters, because basically most courses, like we live in Ohio, and while we had maybe a crappy week, whatever, like it's getting to a point where you can pretty much golf at least once a week if you wanted to. Here all the way through till whatever, October.
Yeah.
And it's like it always starts in the Masters. And I never really thought about that until recently. I wonder if they've planned that date to be like, hey, it's a good time for everyone to get in golf, as opposed to just like, only warm states really care about golf.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know that because I mean, obviously the tournament's been around forever.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to know why they did that.
Nice. Mine is actually golf related too.
Yeah.
Not that we planned this together. But there's a guy on YouTube. His name's Danny. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Maybe Maude. Maude. British guy. But he dumbs down golf so well. And now I haven't played much this year yet. So I have no idea if like my YouTube viewing translates to the course yet.
Right.
In your head it does.
In my head it does.
Yeah.
In my head I'm scratched right now.
Exactly.
It's so easy.
But he
Swing down on the ball. Oh.
But he is awesome. So check him out. Danny, Maude. Like I said, dumbs it down, does a pretty good job of it. And then I think we're probably planning to play next week, the three of us.
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, we'll
see how that translates.
we'll see how well.
to the
We'll see how well
course.
it does. We'll see how well it does. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Why don't you take us home, Matt?
So, guys, if you like this episode and this type of conversation, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple, anywhere where podcasts are found. We'd love it if you would rate, review, subscribe, drop us a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys on topics to discuss and some feedback. So you can also find us on YouTube. You can subscribe, hit that like button for us, and we appreciate it. Take care. Till next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.